one of you amazing viewers just wrote in.
She wrote in and said that there's been some jealousy and people that are kind of pulling at her boyfriend. And she's feeling kind of overwhelmed. Her boyfriend happens to be pretty charming, she says, and has kind of a special effect on women. And because of the jealousy and the conflict, not so much that she's been jealous, but other people have been kind of gossiping and getting in the way, she's actually, some part of her brain is thinking of dumping him because of his charm. And that can be really painful, to be in a position where you really adore someone and the conflict that comes around other people kind of pulling can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how I want to answer this. I'm Reid Mihalko from readaboutsex.com.
I'm Cathy Bartilli from theintimacydojo.com.
Yeah. So let's assume that people who like people might like people who are charming. And then they just continue being charming with everybody. And that's making problems.
It can. Like, Reid happens to be incredibly charming, and a lot of people want to spend time with him. And I've had times when people were making friends with me because they thought that would get them closer to you. And that didn't feel good at all.
Yeah, it's not the best strategy.
No. Because you can usually tell after a little bit. Or I've had people physically push me out of the way when we were someplace so that they could get closer to him. And I'm like, that doesn't feel good. And so I have compassion for what you're feeling.
I'm just picturing this Black Friday shopping kind of.
It kind of was, Reid. It kind of was.
Well, so how did you handle that?
Well, at the time, I was relatively new to the community, and I pouted for a while, and then I talked to you about it. And I think, now I would say, excuse me, or I might just say, wow, if I stay right there, I'm going to be trampled. I'm going to go take a walk and come back when there's a little bit less of a crowd. But if you and I are not in a romantic relationship, I could understand where if we were romantically connected, that would be like, wow, that doesn't feel really good. And feeling like you have to compete to get the attention of your partner could be really challenging.
So what did you end up doing after you were pouting or decided not to stand in the way, or whatever that is?
Well,
I'm asking because it might actually be useful for that person.
Yeah. A lot of insecurity came up for me about, I tend to get insecure about how worthwhile I am, and I'm very shy. So I'm like, wow, Reid has all these amazing people that want to spend time with him. And I asked him for reassurance that he wanted to spend time with me. And he actually had a good point that he doesn't spend time with people he doesn't want to. He's very much in his integrity about what he does with his time. And that if he was spending time with me, that was proof that he wanted to be there. And that, it was partly my job to speak up. If he didn't notice someone pushing me out of the way, it was my job to speak up to them and say, excuse me, that was kind of rude. I was standing there too. Or find some other way to speak up and make sure that I wasn't disrespected or ignored. It's partly my job to do that.
Yeah, got it. Which is why we're still friends.
Yes.
Not to put all the power, because again, this is
well, and I like it when you notice and you include me. I like being included too, but it's not all on you.
It's not. The thing is, it can be difficult to. It can be challenging because you want your partner to stop being charming, which is not a good fit or a good fix.
Oh, because it's fun to be around someone who's charming.
Yeah, but only when we're together. Don't be charming in social situations. Like, that's weird. That is weird. I
don't think she said that. I think it was more the conflict.
No, but like she's going to dump him because she's too charming.
I think she was expressing the concern that was coming up, not that she was actually going to
Well, but the concern, right?
Yeah.
Which means, well, if he could just stop being charming with everybody else and only with me, then we could be together. Like, again, and I know you're watching who wrote this. I'm putting words in your mouth, and I'm not trying to. I'm going, like, let's build this conversation and follow a bunch of different paths, right?
Yeah.
The situation then for Mr. Charming or Ms. Charming or whoever you are out there, or for all the charming folk out there, is understand that you being comfortable in your own skin and being charismatic or whatever those things are impacts people. So where can you also you don't have to stop being yourself, but can you be aware of how you impact people and help them get a context for what's happening? Because one of the things that can happen is when you have people who've never met somebody like you before, they're like, oh my God, like, I've never met anybody like you. You're sparkly, you're shiny. You make me feel like I've never felt before. And it can sound arrogant, but give people a heads up in a respectful way. Like, hey, like, I'm really enjoying this conversation, and this was a lot of fun. Thank you. Like, get savvy at how you create containers and context for people as a charming person, and empower them to be able to handle their own feelings.
Yeah, the charisma myth by Olivia Fox Carbane actually talks about the negative effects of like having people want to be with you all the time, and she has some really powerful tips in there on how to help soothe people and leave them feeling seen and heard.
Yeah, and then around jealousy and envy, things that happen when you see somebody who you feel is more charismatic than you, or this or that. Envy is the feeling that you would like to have that experience.
Too, also.
Jealousy is, I want that bitch or that dude out of there and me in there, right? So I'm jealous of my friend, or I'm jealous of that stranger getting to have that time with you versus actually I don't need time with you, so I don't need them removed. I just need to be having a fun conversation with somebody that is exciting.
I think it could also be I want to be included in that conversation.
Yeah, that's a third option.
Yeah, so that could be envy as well. It could be that, I don't need them to be gone, but I want to be included in the conversation.
I want to say that's not envy, that's something else, but I will geek out on that and try to get back to you.
Yeah.
So these ideas of, well, anytime jealousy or envy comes up, like, what are your needs? Because it's really a dashboard light, and we've got some videos on jealousy and envy. It's a dashboard light for something's up. Because if all your needs were getting met and you were you were filled and nourished and yada yada yada, charisma boy being charismatic with googly-eyed girl or others wouldn't bother you. You'd be like, oh yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it is nice. Like, I appreciate when we're out, we go to events together a lot, and you set a tone. You introduce me. You make sure that people's, you set the tone for how people might treat me.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm shyer and quieter, that means a lot to me, and I really appreciate that. And if you don't notice something happening, it's still my responsibility to take care of my own needs. So, finding that balance and feeling empowered about it, I love this book, The Charisma Myth, Olivia Fox Carbane. Whether you're charismatic and charming or not, you can actually learn how to have grounded feelings and presence with people. And just realize that just because someone's really fun and flashy, they're wonderful and they're really fun to be around, but that doesn't mean that what you bring isn't valuable too. So the quieter person that's a good listener is also really valuable too. And
I think there's a book, and I forget the name of the author, it's called Quiet.
The introverted.
It's about introversion, and it's a really, really great book, and I apologize for not remembering the author's name right now.
Yeah.
All right, leave your comments.
Thanks so much for asking about this.